South of the Iberic Peninsula, we find the most beautiful country of Portugal. Today, with the pleasant company of His Excellency Manuel Carvalho, Ambassador of Portugal to South Africa. How are you, Ambassador, today?
I'm very good, thank you. Happy to be here.
Obviously, thanks for being here. Excellency, how would you define your diplomatic tour and personal experience in this country so far?
It's been personally rewarding. The country is beautiful. The opportunities are here. We are engaging the South African authorities. We have a very, very big Portuguese community in South Africa that we also accompany and support. We engage with local society. We try to identify business opportunities, investment, trade. We just had, I'm coming actually from DIRCO, we just had political consultations between Portugal and South Africa. My Secretary of State left yesterday on her way, in fact, to Mozambique, where she's now witnessing the peace agreement that is taking place in Mozambique. And Portugal is a country that does care a lot for Africa. So we are very, very much present in the region, and South Africa is in the region, by any standard, the most dynamic, the most diversified, the most sophisticated economic country, political system. So South Africa is a priority for us, and I'm trying to, in my activity, to pay tribute to that.
Since the first arrival of Bartolomé Dias in 1488, the Portuguese have integrated in South African society. How would you explain such a strong Portuguese presence, especially when compared to other European countries in culture and development of this country?
No other European country has been 600 years in Africa. No other European country has 400,000 residents in SADC only, to give you an example. So from that point of view, as Europeans that we are very much African, I'd say. Because South Africa is the most sophisticated, most diversified, the most capable of countries in Southern Africa, it is natural that would have a significant presence here. As I say, we are present all over the region, not just in this country. And that has to do with our, long-term attachment to Africa. We are very much present in Mozambique, to give you just one example, of course, the two Portuguese-speaking countries. Angola, but also Namibia, Botswana. We used to have a bigger presence in Zimbabwe, not so much anymore. We do have in Congo. So, there are Portuguese all over Southern Africa, and that explains our presence in South Africa. And we have been here for a long, long time because, as you say, Bartolomé Dias came in 1488. So that gives you the depth of our presence here.
How has the investment of Portuguese capital into South Africa influenced the development of bilateral relations?
Well, I must say that that's trade investment, that's an area where I'm not happy. We certainly don't have the levels of investment and bilateral trade that would correspond to that long and big presence. In part because the statistics don't reveal what trade there would be, because Portuguese in South Africa are actually South Africans, and therefore if you look at the statistics, they will not appear in South African statistics because they will count as South Africans. So in a way that you have a camouflage effect, so to speak. On the other hand, we also have, between the two countries, a challengingly similar pattern of economic profile. South Africa produces great foodstuff, we do the same. Great wine, we do the same. Olive oil, we do the same. Fruit, we do the same. Automotive, we do the same. Aerospace, we do the same. So in a way, the economic profiles of the tourism, by the way, we do the same. So if you look at goods and services, interestingly, we are much more similar than you think in the first place. And from that point of view, we may sometimes be more competitors than actually partners. Take wine, for instance, which is obvious. And I'm not going to be selling a lot of Portuguese wine here because you got very good wine here. So it's hard to sell pizza in Napoli, you know. Yet I would say, and we, for instance, we on the bilateral consultation that we just had with South Africa, those points were presented, and it was reminded that take agriculture, that is all true, but at the same time, our strawberries come in June, whereas yours come, I'd say, in November or January. I don't know exactly when. So, I mean, the flowering seasons are opposite. So we perhaps could work more. If you think of tourism, your peak season for if you know Portugal a little bit, if you look at Lisbon and Cape Town and the coast, they would have a lot of similarities, and even the lifestyle could be very much the same. And by the way, that's one of the reasons that attracts South Africans to Portugal. But we come in opposite seasons. Your summer is in January, February, where we are in the peak of winter. Your winter here is in July, and now we are going to the beaches over there, which I'll be soon doing, in fact, myself. So we may work on the complementarities, and that is ideas that we want to exploit. But it does take a little effort to do that. I want to bank on the fact that we do have, we count some 200,000 Portuguese in South Africa with documents issued. The South African authorities count 600,000 Portuguese origin people in South Africa. So it's those 400,000 difference, maybe the ones that would have, that descend of Portuguese that don't have the Portuguese papers anymore. It's something to start with. And we want to try to work more on that, to relate that with our efforts elsewhere in Africa also. I mean, we in Africa we support investment and trade with other African countries, and we do have some instruments for that. And probably we'll be trying to put it all together in a virtuous circle and try to develop trade. But the starting point is very low, and I'm not happy at all with that.
Are there any existing opportunities for South Africans entrepreneurs that Portugal offers?
Yes, certainly. It's not up to me to tell the private sector what they want to do. I mean, we are a free market economy, so I mean, business people will decide what they find interesting. If I'd say opportunities in Portugal, areas where we are competent and where it is worth investing and could be relevant for South Africa, we can start with the automotive. We are competitors, but at the same time we are complementary, and some of the skills we have in Portugal may be interesting for South African business people to invest in and acquire the skills that will be relevant for the automotive industry in South Africa, to give you an example. I know that some people in, say, in South Africa wine sector are looking at the wine sector in Portugal. Broadening their production base, as some other countries have done. If you think of tourism, again, if you have a tourism brand and you want to operate around the year, because the seasons are opposite, you can rationalize your costs by spreading your activity over two hemispheres with basically the same pattern but with opposite seasons. If you think energy, Portugal is a leader in renewable energy. We hold the record of the longest time running only on renewable for any country in the world, without burning any fuel. Portugal has, very good skills in solar, wind, dam, energy efficiency in general, and put it all together with smart grids that can operate all those different sources without the light flickering. We don't have any load shedding, and I mean, power is steady 2020. With renewables. I mean, 60% of our power, I mean, for over 10 years now, 15 years, I think, comes from renewables in Portugal. And not that many countries do have that. We are moving higher because we'll be supporting electrical mobility with the aim of making the whole country, carbon neutral by 2050, completely. Which means we'll have to shift cars from fuel, I mean, any combustible, anything. We'll move the cars without burning anything. That's the point. And that is going to be an operation that we'll be engaging in now. I mean, as technology evolves, but technology is evolving. And so those are skills that could be relevant for South Africa, because in all those sectors, South Africa does have capabilities of its own, but that could be reinforced by sharing experience with someone that has tried them also already.
How is your mission increasing the numbers of South African visitors to Portugal, given the length of time needed to procure visas could be a barrier to tourists from this country?
Well, I'm not going to give you precise figures. I can tell you that there is growing demand for Portugal in terms of visas, either for visit, for study, or I mean residency. And we do have South Africans that look at Portugal. For tourism visas, we apply Schengen rules, and so we have to follow the common procedures. I'm not going to give you specific timelines for issuance of visas. We don't commit ourselves to that. But I would say that our visas are in line with the practice of most of the other Schengen countries. If anything, a little bit faster. So I hope and I think it is not a serious impediment, I mean, unless told otherwise. As far as I know, we are generally coping with that. With the visas is something we have to live with, and we try to make it as little obtrusive as possible.
Finally, for those South Africans wishing to engage in trade with Portugal, is there an existing chamber of commerce or a trade office or any other similar entities that will help out in this type of activity?
Yes, absolutely. We have, I got the trade mission inside the embassy. The Embassy of Portugal here in Pretoria does have a trade council that is connected with our trade and investment, is from the Trade and Investment Agency. And he's here to assist people that may want to look for business opportunities with Portugal, be it investment as well as trade, or at the same time also looking for partners for possible ventures in South Africa. So I mean, we look at it. We want to increase business in all directions, and we do have two business chambers. One is the South African Portuguese Chamber of Commerce that is based here in Joburg, and then we have in Portugal its counterpart, the Chamber of Commerce for Portugal and South Africa, and that is based in Lisbon, in Portugal. They cooperate, even though their membership is somehow symmetrical. I mean, the one is more focused on business people here, the other is more focused on business people there. But both can be approached and both can serve as entry points, at least. I mean, I don't think any of the chambers will do any deals, but I think they can serve as entry points for introductions and to start the conversation with business people from Portugal on the various sectors we talked about, and all the other, by the way.
Ambassador Calvario, molto obrigado for sharing this time and this useful information with our readers and viewers. Thanks.
Muito prazer. Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you.